actually going to be sitting back. So is this two directional? Oops.
result and finish to the game today. As we leave the non-conference and move into the conference games, that's not how we wanted to end the non-conference games. We were able to, through the non-conference, we were able to learn a lot of lessons for this young team. Our leadership, is continuing to help us grow. For us as coaches, starting with me, I will make sure that we are more consistent from drive to drive, quarter to quarter, as we've shown as we started this game, but did not have a consistency throughout it. Offensively, we were able to put some points up early in the game, and we went on a dry spell there where we didn't score until later in the game, and when we put Mad Dog in, and obviously Mad Dog did a nice job leading the team down the field on 2 drives where we're really efficient in the pass game, and we're able to put points up on the board in a very quick manner. Late in the game, we needed a defensive stop, and we didn't get it. That comes down to me. I've got to do a better job making sure that we're prepared for all situations on the defense side of the ball, and making sure that we understand the different field zones and how we're going to play those field zones given the down and distance and the situations, and make sure that not only we can leverage formations but handle run plays and pass plays given. And we've done it before, and I will make sure as we move forward in a conference play we do a better job with that. In the special teams game, we say every week it's going to come down to a play, and it certainly did today. In a situation where we had an opportunity to put points on the board, it was a flip of points, and it goes the other way as we got a field goal block. So things that we can correct that can't happen in critical situations like that, and we must learn and move forward again as we go into conference play.
Since you finished with the field goal, I guess we'll start with that. What was kind of your decision? Are you originally going to go for it?
Right, we were looking for a certain look, and to be able to get that look as the offense was working on the field, and the time was getting low on the play clock. So, we wanted to go for it. We had a certain play called, and to take advantage of a certain look we were anticipating, and we weren't able to get that look. So the goal there was to absolutely get points on the board, and we didn't get that done ultimately. We felt like we had an opportunity to even maybe get 7, if not 7, then at least get 3.
I was not expecting that to happen, but how do you weigh the 3 versus if you go for it and don't get it, they've got to go the full length of the field there? I mean, what kind of goes into the process of deciding to go other than the look?
It's not that complicated. We get the look we want, we go for it on 4th. If we don't, we kick the field goal. We got a very good field goal kicker.
You say get the look you want. You guys snapped the ball, so you had the look for a long time. Like, why did it take so long to call the timeout there?
We called the timeout, and by the time the refs in the middle of the field heard the whistle blown, they'd already snapped the ball. But
obviously there's a decision made there with Taylor at the end of the game.
Yep.
What went into that, and what did you see?
Yeah, we knew going into the game that we were going to give Mad Dog a drive, the third series of the game. We want to continue to build the depth of our team. He obviously showed today that he is very efficient in the pass game. And so as we moved later into the game and it turned into a 2-score game, and we knew we were need to get points on the board pretty quickly, that was the option to go to. And not only did we spread the ball around, not only did we score the 2 touchdowns quickly, again, we needed a defense stop in that situation, and that's on me. We didn't get that defense stop. We get the defense stop. We saw what Mad Dog and the offense was doing at that point, and that's what we anticipated happening if Mad Dog win the game.
Andy, what do you feel like the offense operates a little bit better, at least in the past game with Maddox in there? I mean, it feels like everything's just a little more on time, or with the timing of the offense, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't mean his feel in terms of his reads and the progressions and going through it. I mean, he put the ball in some pretty tight windows. It wasn't like those were all easy throws, and it wasn't like guys were wide open. And so, again, there's a reason why we gave him an opportunity at the beginning of the game. We want to continue to develop everybody on our roster as we go into conference play. We've got a lot of games left to play, and we want to make sure that we're putting ourselves in the right position. As we move forward, we got 2 quarterbacks that are very capable, and so now finding the mixture of what that looks like, what's best for our offense, ultimately what's best for our team is, what we'll decide on as we move forward.
Will there be a competition?
Again, we'll look at what's best for our team, and we'll move forward.
So would you say that Taylor Green is still your starting quarterback?
We'll look at what's best for our team, and we'll move forward. But thank you for continuing to ask. I'm not going to make that decision right now. We're going to go back, and we're going to watch film, and we're going to evaluate. We're going to make decisions as we always do as a staff.
You mentioned the consistency, but I mean, to be up 17-0, your defense got off to such a hot start with some of the stops, and I mean, it just flipped pretty quickly.
Yeah, we gave up some explosive plays, BJ, there in the second quarter, and you know we were doing a great job playing with some, playing in the run game, the pass game. We actually got lucky a little bit earlier before that on on a play action where we lost our eyes, and Zion did a great job falling into the window and broke a play up. But up until that point, we were doing a really good job. But in this game, that's all it takes. We talk about, Coach D says it all the time, we live on the razor's edge on defense. If you give up explosive plays, it doesn't take much. And obviously we saw that today where, we gave up 14 points there late in the second quarter and moving in. And we always talk about winning the end of the first half. We didn't get that done today. And we were unable to score points there in the third quarter and be productive with it. So when we look at it collectively, there's definitely things that we showed we can do well today, but we got to be more consistent with it. You can't come out and score 17 and then give up 14 and have a drought. Ultimately, that's on me, and I will make sure that the way we compete at practice, the way we incorporate more play at situations so that we can stay in the better flow of the game throughout the course of practice, we'll make sure we get that done.
I don't know if you've seen the play or if your coaches in the box were telling you, what did you think about that fumble there?
We didn't have a vantage point, and they didn't play it in the stadium very much. So the coaches in the box, thought it was, it was splitting hairs call, and usually when it's that way, whatever way they call it first, they're not going to, overturn it. So, we were in a situation there where, we fit the ball carrier in the backfield, and if we do a better job, with our knockback tackling a positive angle situation, we're potentially not in that situation. That's one thing that I felt like we did a much better job of today was our tackling. We emphasized that coming out of last week, and there were some really good open field tackles today.
That last drive, you guys, the last defensive drive, they had 3 third-down conversions. Just what were the struggles getting off the field there?
Well, we twofold. I mean, one of them, they subbed the personnel late, and we tried to match the personnel. And our operation as coaches, we got to do a better job. That starts with me and making sure that we get the right group on the field and get the right call. And then in the that last third down that they converted, it's in the 4-down zone. We got to make sure that we have a defense that is set and capable to handle the run and the pass.
What did Maddox do so well today to lead the offense?
He was, I think Jay said it best. I mean, he was very efficient in what he did. He saw the field and he completed passes. And again, in tight windows, he spread the ball around. There's a lot of guys with catches, and that were productive. And it was shown we get the ball in those guys' hands, and there was guys that had, a lot of yards after catch. So that's a huge positive for us as we move forward, and how we will be able to continue to grow and expand off of that and combine it with the run game. It's, on a day when you have 519 yards of total offense, but again, it's not always about, it's a lesson for the day, right? It's not always about the yards and what you do, because we put up all those yards, but we had a spout there where we weren't able to move. We weren't able to move the ball and put points on the board.
Last week you were saying, you're going to run to win, and it seemed like you had a really good balance today. What did you think of the balance from Bush's play calls?
Yeah, I mean, again, every week, I mean, it's dependent upon the team you're playing and what you're getting. That's the thing about football. You don't go in there and just keep doing what you're doing every week. This week, I mean, the reason why we hit on some of those plays, on the deeper shots, on the layered pass plays early on in the game, because they were flying up on the line of scrimmage, and so we anticipated that. We were able to get off to a faster start based off of what we saw on film and what they were going to have to do based off of what we did last week. And Bush did a nice job hitting some of those early on and putting the guys in position. We were able to move the ball down the field. We were able to score 17 points. Now, obviously, how we adjust and where we go from there. One of the biggest things that we adjusted on, to get going in the run game in the second half was they had a couple D tackles that we knew were going to be challenging in the middle, in the middle of their front. That's been the strength of their defense. And so being able to run more outside zone schemes versus inside stuff helped us. It helped Ashton get going, spread the field a little bit, and we just got to have more of a balance with that and how we're attacking on the ground.
You look at your track record, I mean, you've never really had a bad defense that often. I mean, you've obviously, and there's a lot of season left, but how frustrating has it been, I guess, through 5 games, just in key spots, key drives, key third downs? It just seems like plays we've seen in the past being made aren't being made right now.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the thing about it is I love this defense. I love this defense. I love the guys on there. I love how we have guys that have played a lot of football, guys that haven't played very much football. Now they have. Now we go in the we finish out, with the non-conference. We can go in the conference play. As we just spoke about in the locker room, I know what we're going to come and do tomorrow when we go to practice. I know what we're going to show up and what it's going to look like on Tuesday when we go to practice. That's the part about being a coach. You got to understand that it's going to take growth. It's going to take consistency. It's about us as coaches being persistent, as mentors, as coaches, and the expectations of, the things that, we're teaching and how we're developing. But, I've coached a lot of defense, and not all of them have, all of them look different. The way you get things done, it's not cookie cutter. We've got to do a good job making sure that things that we're working to put in the game plan and take away what offenses, are doing well also fits who our personnel is and who our guys are.
If it doesn't have anything to do with the day or whatever, that's fine. I just saw Ahmed come up to you after the game. He's obviously a pretty emotional guy. Can you share anything that
No, we just had a personal conversation. We've been working again. There's an example. You ask about the defense. He's played, he's been here for 3 years and what he's been able to do, but he's in a full-time role now, and there's a lot that comes along with that and how he's developing and how he's growing. I'll be honest with you, we make it very challenging. The standards are really high, and we want him to continue to grow. We know the type of player he can become, the type of player that the defense needs him to become, and that's all we want for him. And like the rest of the guys, I as a defensive coach and growing up and that being my background, I'm not going to get frustrated with stuff. There's always a desire and a passion to learn and grow and to get things to where they can be. And Ahmed is just an example of that, and that's why I love him, and as well as the rest of the guys. Ahmed works tremendously hard. It's not always perfect with him or with anybody else in terms of their execution, but we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for consistency, and I know we'll be able to build that.
Couple more.
As that applies to Taylor, what do you? I know the game is ended, Andy, but in terms of the next step or what you want to see out of him, how does he take that next step?
Yeah, just being able to trust the preparation in the pass game, and what we're seeing and how we're executing, the things that we prepare. I don't think it's an ability thing at all, and so for him to take the next step, the consistency, that we have in practice, we got to have that carryover into the games.
It was announced before the game that you had 7 guys out. Obviously, 5 of them were starters, 2 of them, including 2 captains. How much does that change the game plan? I know you aren't for excuses. But.
No, there's no doubt. It's next man up, and that's where as we get into conference play here and we get, we're looking forward to getting some guys back, getting some guys healthy, but there's never an excuse. Riley and DJ came with us, but obviously they weren't able to go today. It's next man up, and that's again why we work to develop the depth of our team the way we need to, because it's a long season and you've got to have a second guy as you're working on a third guy to get ready to be in the game, and really in all 3 phases.
Early in the game, you guys were down there at the 1-yard line, had to settle for a field goal. I know there's a lot of games still to play, but just when you get opportunities like that and you just can't convert, just how frustrating is it? Yeah,
and you know what? Probably if that's the second time we're down there, that was the first time we were down there, and some of the things they did up front defensively probably didn't give us the reasoning to go for it on 4th down. There were some things that we needed to get squared away. If we got in that situation again, maybe with the adjustments we made and getting some things squared away in terms of what they were doing in that particular package that they put out there. But, yeah, again, we had an opportunity. We put it on Mike a little bit quicker, and, Mike's got a touchdown there early on, to start the game in that situation.
I know it's kind of a broken record. Ashton Genty had 4 freaking touchdowns today. 4th game this season out of 5 where he's been over 100 yards from scrimmage. At the end there, certainly seemed tired, but was on the field. Just how impressive does he continue to be?
Yeah, Ashton, as he continues to learn and grow, again, still a young player that is maturing and developing and obviously becoming extremely productive on the field. did a real nice job. And, in the 2-minute drill, too, Maddox went to him a couple times. And he did a great job, with the yards after catch. And then, obviously, in the backfield, early on in the game, it was very obvious by how they have adjusted, what they had done on defense in their previous games, that they were going to do everything they could, rightfully so, to keep Ashton from having a huge day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
To be up 17-0 and kind of let that one slip away like that now, what are the emotions like? How tough is that?
It's unfortunate. It happens. It's it's sport. It's football. So we fought hard, finished the game like we're trained to do. So that's all I can say on that.
It seemed like you and Maddox had a nice connection there towards the end. Is he just that calm and that poised like when he came into the game?
Yeah, he does a great job of keeping his composure. When his number's called, he comes in and does the best for the team, and we know you got to step up too and just make plays for the guys. So that's all we tried to do.
Really, how good is Maddox at operating within the timing of the offense? That post you caught at the end, kind of threw it to space, and it was perfect. So how good is he at that?
It starts with his composure. He's trained. We always tell him, stay ready, and that's our motto here for everyone. You never know when your number is going to be called, so stay ready. And when your time comes, just go out there and ball, play loose, go out there and make the best of your opportunity. And we know how, as being an older guy, I got to help step up. And, he put it in a good spot for me and just trying to make plays.
How good did that? I know that the outcome's not what you wanted, but for you, man, how good did it feel to make a couple plays there at the end?
It always feels good. I love Boise State, love the community, love our team, our family, and I just always want to help out as much as I can. And it felt great to go back out there and make some plays for the family.
You're obviously super close with Taylor, and I know this probably can't be the easiest thing for him. What do you kind of say to him after a game like this?
Just stay in it. Keep your head in it. I know it's football. Everyone has to, just keep bouncing back, keep fighting as much as you can. That's what we preach. That's what we teach. Adversity always strikes. Response is the biggest thing in life. So that's what we always preach. Tell them I love them. I still got your back. Everyone does, and we all love you. Let's just bounce back and get back to it.
You guys had the ball down there, 4th down, and you just thought you were going to go for it, then you kicked the field goal, it gets blocked. Were you You guys were obviously about to snap the ball, or you did. I mean, were you excited to go for that there and try to get the touchdown?
Absolutely, but we trust our coaching staff and we trust them with the fullest. So whatever they say, whatever they call, we're going to go out there and do our best to operate it.
I know you're not expecting that to happen, but how big of a swing was that then when they blocked the field goal to take it back?
I mean, it's everything. We always preach special teams, game changing, and it could be 1 to 2 plays just like that. So they made the best of their opportunity, and you guys saw what happened.
How frustrating is that for you guys as an offense, just to kind of have a swing like that, also the swing, you guys go up 17-0 and they score 14 quick points, just, how frustrating are those swings like that?
It's football, and like I said, we got to preach the response. So when stuff like that happens, hey, let's go, let's bounce back. We look at each other, we don't bat an eye, let's go. What can we do to be better? What can we do to do our jobs?
What, on that 4th and 1, Andy was saying, hey, we were looking for a specific defense or whatever. What look were you trying to get, and what did they come out in?
Each play is specific to its own look we want. That's kind of what game planning and offense is. So, just depended on what we wanted. If we see this and certain things based off tendencies, we don't like it, just based off of what we're expecting from them. And I mean, like I said, I trust the coaches to the fullest. I trust Coach Andy, Coach Bush, and Coach Miller, everyone in the staff. So if they call it off, it wasn't something that we loved, and, we live with the outcome.
Ashton Genty again today. There are players who would love to have 4 touchdowns in their careers. He did it in 4 quarters today. How would you just sum up what he continues to do and mean to this team?
I mean, there's no one more deserving. He works his tail off every day. He brings a great mentality and attitude. He's someone I love being around. Always puts a smile on my face. I just love being around that guy. So when things like that happen, good things happen to good people, especially people that work hard for it.
How cool is it to see, for him kind of adjust to, so right out of the gate, it was pretty obvious what Memphis was trying to do or who they were focused on, and he still just kind of, pounds the stone or whatever you guys say,
Yeah.
and he ends up, well over 100 yards.
Right. That's just him. That's a testament to his work ethic and how he shows up every day. And our O-line is incredible. They're playing out of their mind. You got to give kudos to them, and they're playing so good, and the confidence of running behind them, regardless what the defense is doing, is always going to be there. So.
Anything else? I'm drenched in sweat. It was hot today. I wasn't even running around.
Right.
You guys were playing a football game. Can you maybe kind of talk about that, the heat community, maybe in the second half? I'm not sure if there's any critique.
Yeah, we were prepared for it. We always do this thing, and our coaching staff does a great job of getting us out there and doing some things in camp and leading up to this week to get us prepared for this. We're hydrating, always staying in it. We know what to expect. We weren't surprised by it, so got out here, got some work in, and, it was everything we expected.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Defensively, to not be able to get that final stop down there and give your offense, a chance. I guess how disappointing was that?
It's very disappointing. I take full responsibility for it.
My job was just to get Curry knockback and make that tackle. Obviously, we need to do our 1/11th for the team, and I just take full responsibility for it because I think it hit my gap. But I promise I'll be better for my team.
I noticed you walked over to Andy and said something after the game.
Mm-hmm.
What did you tell your coach?
I told him I love him. I love him and I appreciate him for everything he does. He does a lot for us that nobody knows about. And I just told him I'll do anything for him. That guy just sacrificed a lot of his time, a lot of his family time for us. And especially with me, he spends a ton of time with me, and he spends a ton of coaching with me. So, and I told him I appreciate him for what he's doing, and told him that I'm sorry that I could have done my job better. And if better is possible, then good is not good enough. So I told him that, and I told him he always tell me that if better is possible, then good is not good enough. So I went to him and I told him that. And I told him I'm sorry that I could have done a better job securing my gap and doing my job for my team.
How many of your teammates feel the same way about Andy and stuff? I mean, yeah, you know how social media is, and fans are unhappy where the team's at.
Mhm.
People always blame the coach. I mean, how much is the team still backing Andy here?
I mean, we love him. That's our coach. He does everything for us. We do anything for him. Like, if it starts with me, I would do anything for Coach Andy. He coaches hard, and we want that. And again, I take full responsibility, and we all take full responsibility. We're pissed that we did not come to our goal today, but our goal is still in front of us, to win a Mountain West championship and a bowl game with academic excellence. So, again, we're gonna go this week, and then work as a team and work hard as we ever been, because this is not acceptable, and we should have won that game. And our goal is still in front of us. We're gonna work so hard, and it starts with me. I need to attack the pocket more efficiently and keep leverage on the QB, because there's a couple times I could have made that tackle. I could have stopped the QB, and I take full responsibility for it. That I promise I'll do better for my team.
You guys go ahead 17-0, and then two touchdowns there in the last 5 minutes of the first half. You know, just what happened on those defensive breakdowns, and just how deflating was that for you guys?
Again, just doing our job, just getting out on third downs. We kind of struggle with that, and we just need to find the area that we need to grow in, and I'll promise you that we will grow. And Coach D, he's on us, and he coaches very hard as well, and I love Coach D to death. I would do anything for that guy, and I love this team with everything I have. This is my family, and I will do anything to protect them. Just need to do our 1/11th. Need to attack the quarterback a lot better. Our back end need to help the back end, and the front need to help the back end as well. So it kind of goes two-way street. It kind of goes vice versa. So just doing our 1/11th for the team.
I mean, the defense has kind of been put in some tough spots over the last
Mm-hmm.
5 games of spots where it's like, hey, we need a stop here in the UCF game, this game. It hasn't gone your way. Definitely not for a lack of effort. How do you, in practice or mindset, like, can you change things about that and how those go? Or how do you work on that?
Their coaches are honest on everything. We just, again, need to do our job to get off the field. I mean, they are doing everything they can in their power. They're giving us new calls. They give us new fronts. They give us everything. They're trying so hard, and we appreciate whatever they're doing, because they spent a month time in the facility. Sometimes they sleep at the facility. They don't even go home. So we just, again, it comes to us doing our job and doing our 1/11.
So, I mean, I know it's been the case a couple times this year, but DJ's out. You look around that defense at times, there are not a lot of upperclassmen out there. How much is it just on you guys to grow up when the action is live, I guess?
I mean, the fresh, like the little guys. I mean, the younger guys. Yeah, the younger guys need to step up. Next guy up, next guy mentality, and prove it every single day. That's on our back of our shirts, and just proving it every single day that we can do, and just next guy up mentality until we get our guys back and we're doing our job and just getting off the field and winning.
Did it feel like defensively almost a different game before the block field goal and after the block field goal? Because I think the next 2 defensive drives, I think they scored on both of those. Did it just kind of feel different after that?
I mean, we always want to keep our mentality is like, all right, it's 3 or nothing. And obviously we didn't accomplish that because they scored. But I promise you, we will get back to it, and we watch film and we fix what happened, and so it doesn't happen again.
What have you seen from Maddox in practice the last 5 months?
He's a dog. He's a dog. He wants it. He wants to work. He wants to be in. And Talon also a dog, and he wants to be in, and he wants to play. And it's the competition in practice. Like, it happens with me every single day in practice. It happens with every single D-line in practice. Are you gonna do your job? Are you gonna listen? Are you gonna be coachable? You're gonna play.
Anything else? All right, thank you all.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you all.
Welcome back to the Bronco Roundup post-game show. You just heard from Ahmed Hassanin as well as Billy Bowens and head coach Andy Avalos following Boise State's 35-32 loss on the road in Memphis. They now fall to 2-3 on the season. In just a couple of moments, I'm going to be rejoined by Jay Tust, who's covering the team right now in Memphis. We're going to have a lot to talk about, including a monster game from Ashton Jeanty and what looks like a brewing quarterback controversy between Talon Green and Maddox Madsen. The Mad Dogs stepped up and had a great finish to the end of the season, but unfortunately Boise State unable to turn the tide. We got plenty coming up. We'll be with you in just a couple moments. Welcome back to the Bronco Roundup post-game show. Boise State falls to Memphis 35-32. I want to give you a quick recap of what happened. Boise State got off to a hot start on offense and defense. They led 17-0 behind 2 Ashton Genty touchdowns. But from there, Memphis answered with 28 unanswered points. Part of that was a blocked field goal that they took back the other way for a touchdown, taking the lead. From there, jumping into the fourth quarter, Maddox Madsen would step in at quarterback. We had seen him come in earlier, the third drive. Andy Avalos decided to put him in during crunch time, where he led a 5-play, 80-yard drive, taking 2 minutes and 16 seconds, ending with an Ashton Genty touchdown. From there, Memphis was able to go all the way down the field. Boise State unable to get the third down stops necessary. They would then stretch the lead back to 10. Boise State answered with another Maddox Madsen-led touchdown drive back to Ashton Genty, once again punching it in. But in the end, Boise State ran out of time. 39 seconds left on the clock. They could not get the onside kick, and Memphis would win the first of this 4-game series. We're going to bring in Jay Tust, who is standing by in Memphis in the Volunteers Day. Jay, an emotional sight at the end in the post-game press conference and the players of the field. What are you seeing down there in the Volunteer State?
Yeah, this one obviously hurts, Brady. Boise State led this game 17-0. There are so many storylines to really talk about right now. One of them, again, being the 17-0 lead that Boise State wasn't able to hang on to. They had to bench their starting quarterback. The backup quarterback did pretty good and is obviously going to start what is going to be a QB competition. I don't know if Boise State is going to openly admit that or not, but with the way that Maddox Madsen played when he came in, 11 of 14 for 175 yards and a pair of scores, he has obviously entered the discussion and is deserving of playing time considering the way that he played. On top of all that, there was a critical decision there in the third quarter. Boise State contemplated going for it on 4th and short, deep inside Memphis's territory. Instead, they call a timeout and they kick a field goal. Now, Brady, we asked Coach Avalos about this after the game and what went into that decision. He said that they were looking for a very specific look, and if they got that look, they were going to go for it on 4th down. They lined up, they called the timeout, and that's when they ultimately decided to kick a field goal. Now, the payoff there was a 10-point swing in the game. Boise State could have added 3 points to their lead at the time to make it a 6-point game. Instead, Memphis blocks it, returns it all the way for a touchdown, and what could have been, it could have been a 6-point Boise State lead, all of a sudden has them down 21-17, midway through the third quarter. So a really tough game for the Boise State football team. I know they're young, Brady. I know that they're growing, but when you have a 17-0 lead, Brady, you want to close these games out.
Absolutely, and I think the storyline heading into next week is going to be the quarterback controversy, because absolutely it is a quarterback competition, quarterback controversy. You take a look at what Maddox Madsen did today. Not only was he able to, complete 11 of 14 of his passes for 2 touchdowns, but they were quick. The offense moved very fluidly, and it felt like he got the wide receivers more involved. We just heard from Billy Bowens, who's 3 catches for 89 yards and a long of 52 yards. I mean, he racked up 50 yards after catch in the fourth quarter alone. We're getting more guys involved under Maddox Madsen, it seemed like.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you kind of mentioned right there too, Brady, they're catching the ball in space, which allows them to be very aggressive and get downfield after the catch. You looked at what Steph Cobbs, Billy Bowens did when Maddox Madsen came into the game, and you could argue it was the best stretch of football for those 2 specific guys that they have played all season long. One thing for me, you go back, and I posted this play on Twitter last week. It was down in the red zone, and it looked like, Boise State got a look that they liked, and the read on the play was very obvious. I'm not a college football player, and I'm not a college coach, but I could tell that the play was obvious. And Talon wasn't able to get the ball out on time, and eventually it resulted in him rolling out of the pocket and throwing the ball away. When Maddox was on the field today, he was operating within the timing required of this offense. He was throwing to space, not people, right? And that's important when you're a quarterback. It's trusting that. And I saw that trust and I saw that confidence out of Maddox Madsen tonight. Talon Green is clearly a really talented individual, unbelievably athletic at 6'6", and he's oftentimes the fastest player on the field. but he's also only a sophomore. He's learning, he's growing. I will say this, though. Boise State desperately needs him to take the next step if he is going to continue to be their starting quarterback, because we saw what this offense is capable of when Maddox Madsen came in, and I think you like the results at the end of that game, Brady.
Absolutely, and that was what
at least on offense.
Definitely. And it was what Andy Avalos said in the postgame. You know, the next step for Talon is being able to trust his guys, get more people involved. And, you know, the big point is that they didn't want to really tell us anything more about that other than Andy said, and I have the quote, "We'll look at what's best for our team and move forward." And I can remember that because he said it 3 times in a row. But, you know, competition is always good. The best way you can get Talon Green to take the next step forward is to, you know, push each other at practice, and you're going to get the best out of both of them. One of them is going to be the starting quarterback next week when they host San Jose State. Let's talk about something positive, though. Ashton Jeanty, another monster game out of him. 82 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns, 53 receiving yards for 2 touchdowns. I liked your line in the postgame. A lot of guys would like to do that just throughout their career, but he was able to do it today in 4 quarters.
Yeah, Brady, he was unbelievable again. Like, we are running out of superlatives when we talk about Ashton Jeanty and what he has been able to do so far this season. I mean, this is a guy that is approaching 1,000 yards from scrimmage, and we are only 5 games into the season. He entered this one, with 692 over the first 4 games, and he racks up over 140 total yards today, had over 50 receiving, 82 rushing. What really stood out to me about him on the ground, too, it was so obvious from the get-go that Memphis was selling out to stop Ashton Jeanty, and they did that early on. But as Riley Smith said earlier this week, you know, they like to just keep pounding the stone, right? And, man, Ashton Jeanty, that's exactly what he did. He ended up with 23 carries, 82 yards, a pair of scores. This game just got over, but one thing I'm going to look up almost as soon as I can, the last Bronco with 2 receiving touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns in the same game. Just an unbelievable effort once again by a kid that is only a true sophomore, and he continues to exceed everybody's expectations, Brady.
Yeah, he has been really fun to watch this year. He's putting a special season together, and I believe that you mentioned it earlier that he actually is not eligible for the draft this year. He has at least one more year of college football left in him, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, you're exactly right on that, Brady, because you have to be 3 years removed from high school. So since he's only a true sophomore, he has to come back at least one more year. I'll say this, too. Sat next to a scout from the Reese's Bowl in the press box. He actually showed up to watch George Halani today just in case George was healthy enough to go. From my understanding, it's still going to be at least a week or 2. He's getting really, really close, though, when it comes to George Halani and his health. But he also wanted to know who this number 2 kid was, because Ashton Jeanty is really starting to turn some heads, not only in the city of Boise, but really all across the country when you look at how productive he has been so far this season, Brady.
Especially when you get that national recognition, leading the country in all-purpose yards. The unfortunate part for that guy is I can't imagine that Ashton Jeanty is going to be playing college football during his senior year. I think there's a good shot he's going to end up going pro. As we take a look at it, though, non-conference is officially in the books.
You're probably right about that.
Sorry, the delay is really fun, if anyone's wondering what's going on with that. As we take a look at it, non-conference is officially in the books. Boise State finishes out what was a rigorous non-conference slate with a 1-3 record this season. That matches what they did last year. Both of those wins coming against FCS teams. 2021, the beginning of the Andy Avalos era, they went 2-2 with wins over BYU. I know the goal always is that you want to win a Mountain West championship and a bowl game afterwards, but doesn't it mean a little bit more to come and beat some of these non-conference teams and show that the Mountain West is a great league and Boise State one day needs to jump up and should be a Power 5 program?
It absolutely does, Brady. When we always talk about the standard of the program, and I know we preach, or the program preaches, the standard is winning the Mountain West Conference Championship. But if we're being honest, I've always kind of felt like that was the baseline of the standard, right? Like almost the minimum of the standard, because the actual standard is to win Mountain West Conference Championships, to put yourself in a position to attain a bigger bowl game. And I said this on the pregame show. A win tonight meant that they would have left the month of September, a daunting schedule, but they would have left the month of September at 3-2 overall. At 3-2, that was the exact record that the 2014 Fiesta Bowl team had after 5 games. So everything would have been on the table in terms of what they could have achieved this season. But by dropping to 2-3, you know, now all of a sudden the bigger bowl game, the New Year's Six type Fiesta bowl game, it's almost impossible to work your way back into the conversation. So much has to happen that you can't control on top of you controlling what you can, and that would be winning out. And so now they shift their focus as the lights begin to turn off behind me here. They shift their focus to, as you said, Brady, winning a Mountain West Conference championship. Want to talk about the defense really quick, again, as it gets a little dimmer in here. Maybe they'll leave a couple lights on for us. Brady, overall, a really, really good start. But I would say they lit the torch. They just couldn't carry the flame for 4 quarters. And the second half particularly, they just couldn't get enough stops. And the crucial one they needed with, late in the fourth quarter, they couldn't get. So a young defense that's trying to grow, but they still give up, 448 yards on 63 plays. That's a pretty healthy yards per play average there, Brady.
Yeah, and that is often the issue when you are missing some guys and have to bring up your reserves and play some younger players. You can have a great start, but it really has to be all 4 quarters. You run out of depth, you run out of energy, and then some of the cracks start to show. I think another thing that's notable, no takeaways today. That's something that Boise State has always kind of prided themselves on being able to do, the explosive play of the defense, if you will. I know that's something that, you can't always get them, but that's something Boise State definitely wants to fix moving forward and get their offense on the field a little bit more often.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And they almost got one at the end of the game when that Memphis ball carrier was fighting to get over the goal line for what was the game-clinching touchdown. Boise State, it looked like they punched the ball out. It happened just after the ball carrier had crossed the goal line. What really strikes me about that play was something that happened about, 15 minutes after it happened. Ahmed Hassanin was involved in it. And after the game, he said that good is not good enough if you can do better. And on that play, he says that he could have done better. In football terms, there's gap integrity when somebody's running the ball at you, and he felt like he could have done a better job. Right after the game was over, Brady, I noticed that he walked over to Andy Avalos, and they were having a pretty passionate conversation. And so I asked both of them after the game what that was about. Andy talked more about Ahmed's character at the time. Ahmed owned up to saying that he could have done better. He will do better. I know that you told Ahmed's story a little bit earlier. He just came over, from Egypt. He's only been playing football for a few years. He's so young and so green, and he is learning on the fly, and his ceiling is sky high when it comes to his talent. But and I'll also add this, he's probably being a little too critical on himself, but that's the standard that he wants to achieve and operate at. And he says he could have done a better job on that play. Just to paint the picture again, though, Boise State was already down in the contest by 3. They were trying to keep Memphis out of the end zone. He certainly did not lose them the game on that play, but it just shows you how much how much the game means to Ahmed, and he's continuing to grow. But as Andy Avalos said, Brady, when it comes to Ahmed's character, his determination, it's going to be important for this team and this defense the rest of the way.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. Ahmed Hassanin, a little bit too critical on himself. I mean, he put up a good game, 6 tackles, one of the 2 sacks that the Boise State defense was able to account for. But I do think, that it does bring out something that I've noticed. Boise State, a 2-3 start, something the program is typically not used to seeing, but you're not seeing the players turn on the coaching staff, turn on each other. They're ready to bounce back. It really hasn't shaken their confidence, and that's really important as you have an important goal ahead. The Mountain West title and the LA Bowl is the ceiling for this team, I guess, but that would still be a great year. It all starts next week against the San Jose State Spartans.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. I in my time of covering the team, you always thought that the that, you know, competing for Mountain West championships is as great as they are, but they were kind of the floor of your standards. This season now that is the ceiling of the standards at off to a 2-3 start. We'll see how they can bounce back. They go back home next week to take on a San Jose State team that has a very good quarterback in Chevin Cordero. They have a great head coach in Brent Brennan. They will be motivated and ready to come to Boise State and get what they've never been able to do, an elusive win on the blue. And they will be motivated to do that, Brady. And meanwhile, Boise State is going to have to answer the questions and deal with being 2-3 and everything that surrounds a quarterback controversy. And I know as we move to kind of wrap this up, I do want to revisit that for just a second, because I want to be clear with this. The coaches and the players, they don't want to spark chaos, obviously. So when we ask them about who the quarterback is moving forward, the only thing that they can really say is we will evaluate it and do what is best for the team. But I think that everybody could see with our own eyes and hear with our own ears, in whatever sense you want to judge this with, that Maddox Madsen has definitely put himself in the discussion, and it's his ability to confidently take what he does in practice to the game, to operate within the timing of the offense. The offense moved at a different pace when he was in the game, and that was very, very noticeable. I'm not saying or predicting that Maddox Madsen is going to be the starting quarterback for the Boise State football team a week from today when they host San Jose State. But what I am saying is it's going to be a very interesting week at practice, and I think that Andy Avalos I know that Andy Avalos was non-committal with who his starting quarterback will be, but in his answer talking about that, he mentioned the word, quote, mixture. And so I don't know how thrilled anybody would be about a two-quarterback system, but they do have to figure out a mixture or whatever it might be before the San Jose State game next week, because that is, I think you would call it a must-win for this Boise State football team as they continue to try to control their own destiny, Brady, and vie for a Mountain West Conference championship.
Absolutely, and I think when you take a look at it, as unorthodox as it would be, you don't want to give up what Taylon Green can offer on the run and the threat that he is with his legs to really open up space for the defense. So that will be something interesting. We'll, of course, be on top of that throughout the week, give you guys all the updates as we continue through it. For now, Jay, get home safe. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Sunday Sports Extra and watching your highlights tonight on the news at 10.